Gestalt's principles. The principle which is most important for data visualization. Gestalt's principles are the law of human perception that describes how humans group similar elements, recognize patterns, and simplify complex images when we perceive objects. Designer uses the principle to organize content on websites and other interfaces, so it is aesthetically pleasing and easy to understand. According to this, mind informs what the eye sees by perceiving a series of individual elements as a whole. So here, when we look into something, we look at a series of individual elements as a whole. So the 7 Gestalt principles are nothing but closure, common fate, continuation, similarity, figure ground, and proximity. So when you look into these images, at first we see that a triangle and circle, but there are 3 Pac-Man. So in the next image, you see that a dog is running, but it is a collection of dots. So when we see that, our eye will collect all the individual dots and it forms as a shape and make it as feel as dog moving. So why designers should care about Gestalt's principles? So designers must understand the power of role that psychology plays in visual perception. What happens when someone else meets your design creation? Like someone is seeing your creation, what they will think? How does their mind react to the message your piece is sharing? So it is the main thing that every designer must look into it. So they will help you determine which design elements are more effective in a given situation. For example, when to use visual hierarchy, when to use background shading, when to use gradients, and how to group similar items and distinguish different ones. These psychological principles hold power to influence our visual perception, which allows designers to direct our attention. So figure ground. So in this image, your eye instantly see a white apple sitting on a black background. When people use your website or mobile app, one of the first things they do on each screen is determine which is the figure and which is the figure ground. But there is already a face which is in the apple, but we fail to recognize it first. So when we focus on figure ground, first we set it to be a figure ground. So in this, the text and logo on the left side of the page are clearly sitting on the top of the background image. Second, the white text in the menu on the right stands on the top of the background, so that it's easy to recognize a website. Similarity. Similarity is that in this shape there are appear to 2 separate and distinct groups based on shape, the circles and squares. A variety of design elements like color and organization can be used to establish similar groups. In the image, even though all the shapes are same, it's clear that each column represents a distinct group. Proximity. So proximity states that the things that are closer together appear to be more related than things that are spaced further apart. So it has the powerful, that is, it overrides similarity of color, shape and other factors that might differentiate a group of objects. So the nearness of each image and its corresponding text communicates that they are related to one another. So the principle of common region, adding borders or other visible barrier, is a great way to create perceived separation between groups of objects, even if they have same proximity, shape and size. Continuity. The principle of continuity states that the elements that are arranged on a line or curve are perceived to be more related than elements not on the line or curve. In the image above, for example, the red dots on the curved line seems to be more related to the black dots on the curved line than to the red dots on the straight line or straight line. That's because your eye naturally follows a line or a curve, making continuation a stronger signal of relatedness than the similarity of color. Closure. The principle of closure states that when we look at a complex arrangement of visual elements, we tend to look for a single recognizable pattern. When you see an image that has missing parts, your brain will fill the blank and make a complete image so you can still recognize the pattern. The closure principle is often used in the logo design at a variety of companies, including IBM, NBC, Zendesk, etc. Focal point. The focal point principle states that whatever stands out visually